Hello everybody, welcome back to Links with Friends. Today is October 28th, 2025, and we're doing government and security to start your week.
And if you are in this country as an immigrant, a legal one, you still have to worry if you're not a legal one, but if you are a legal one, you might have been a little bit worried.
You have to worry if you're legal too.
If you were a student.
Or just a citizen, anyone really.
There was some question about what was going to happen, and maybe you get a little bit of solace from this.
The headline in India today is U.S. clarifies on its H1B Visa fee, a big relief for students and techies. Now, supposedly this $100,000 per H1B doesn't apply if you transition from your student visa to your worker visa and some other conditions.
And if you're already here, but you just need to renew, I think, right? You don't have to pay the $100,000.
There was also some consternation about if you travel abroad and come back, are you going to have trouble getting in? And they say no.
I don't know if I'd trust that.
Yeah, I don't. There's the level of trust is in hell.
And it should be. You shouldn't trust anybody for any reason. And you shouldn't trust anybody with your data, which has been proven over and over and over, which is fine if you're a pleb. But it is a major issue if you are someone who works for the federal government.
Hackers say they have the personal data of thousands of NSA and other government officials. Yes, but as you alluded, it's like their data was probably already there in the Walmart compromise or whatever. And wouldn't their data also be there in from the OPM hack? But this is something new.
So this is not necessarily an individual hack, but just someone has collated all this information and made it available. So get ready to hear that as an excuse for more locking down of all the various things. And to show how the symmetry in that situation works.
Asymmetry?
It only escalates more and more against the common man.
DHS asks OpenAI to unmask users behind ChatGPT prompts, possibly the first such case. Now, technically, this headline is inaccurate. DHS has asked OpenAI for the full transcripts of conversations containing certain keywords. They're not asking to identify the individual, but it is absolutely going to identify the individual.
They know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they know I don't know if they know the account.
Right.
Yeah.
But they know because they talked to this guy undercover, just chatting on the old forum, the worst forum that you can join. And this guy was just like, hey, I've been having some fun with AI. And he posted some of his chats. So they want to use that as the identifying factor. And they say they want all of his information. But the chats that he admitted to had nothing to do with this crime.
No.
It was like a Trump poem and something about Star Trek.
Yeah. He asked what if Sherlock Holmes met Q? What would Sherlock Holmes think of Q? But this is wild because
Someone needs to go on a fan fiction website because I bet someone's already written that.
You remember the Boston Marathon bombing? There were a number of people that were investigated because they happened to search for pressure cookers the day before the bombing.
So it's we're still to see whether or not OpenAI is going to actually do anything there. They didn't respond to comment to that article. So
And we know that OpenAI has to preserve all those chats because of the New York Times case. Isn't that wild?
And the tech companies are on our side, but only because they have to be, not because they love us. But, I suppose any friend that you can get in this battle is good.
Big Tech sues Texas and says the age verification law is a broad censorship regime.
They're more concerned they're going to start hemorrhaging users than anything else, but
We have a story later about the age verification in the UK, and it has tanked business. So it seems like Big Tech would have a slam dunk case here if they can show that age verification has tanked business in some way.
I can't help but remember about 5 years ago when it was proven that Big Tech entered into a broad censorship regime.
It's always the thing plus interferes with business. It's like these companies would send orphans to the wood chipper shredder if it would improve their bottom line.
And we have seen several instances where it is not okay for you to do this, but presumably this one will be tolerated. I don't know, maybe not. We'll have to find out.
Democrats will launch. The headline is Democrats will launch a master ice tracker to monitor misconduct. This is from Gizmodo. The article isn't terrible from Gizmodo, but this is because citizens like you and I had already done this, and then it was shut down. Apple literally deleted the app from the App Store that did exactly the same thing that they proposed to do here. Now, this should be worrying because why can an ordinary citizen not do this, but you rely on other people to do it. One of the politicians that's doing this is Lori Lightfoot, the former Chicago mayor, and she's kind of problematic.
Hopelessly corrupt would be another way to say that. But also, that's a little bit toothless because it's not going to track individuals. It's going to just track like instances. So it's sort of like, put a pin on a map.
This kind of thing makes me really jaded because a lot of these politicians will do this for a talking point and not because they earnestly want to improve things or make things better. Or it's like, we have to do extraordinary things to remove the gangs that have embedded themselves. More tolerable than rounding up people in the Walmart parking lot.
It's kind of crazy that they didn't. I mean, maybe they are going after Apple, but it's just in the courts now. But it's like you could just go after the person who controls the App Store if you had any actual power. But the real power lies with Apple.
But this is a conflict of power, right? Because one half of the government wants it, the other half doesn't. So we'll see how that plays out.
I've also heard that in Chicago they've started using the police whistles. So like when you see people roll up without license plates and in masks, that people start blowing their whistles, and apparently that's effective.
Well, that's been happening since the 80s. Also, flying pigeons.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Interesting.
Cop rolls into the neighborhood, pigeons go up. Yeah. Pro crime tip.
Is it crime though?
Part of our pigeon,
Oh, yeah.
our carrier pigeon project.
For
should
sure.
be that.
I don't know if it's crime in this case, but it was invented for crime. That's definitely the case.
That's absurdly handy. Thank you, criminals, for thinking outside the box. We're going to use that to try to protect what little rights we have left.
And if we can't, we'll have to go to space. But we might have to wait a little while because one man is not pulling his weight.
NASA opened SpaceX's moon lander contract to rivals over the Starship delays.
Poor NASA.
So NASA's like, hey, Elon, your hopelessly optimistic timelines have once again bitten you in the butt. What's going on? So Blue Origin might have a shot here again, maybe, possibly.
I hate to agree with Elon Musk, but his response was, mark my words, it'll be the Starship. And I think he's right because what NASA project has ever been on time?
Yeah.
I mean, his delays are kind of small compared to theirs. Although, Bezos could slide in there. We don't know.
You know the joke, the old adage that Lockheed has been reverse engineering space alien technology since the 50s or whatever. That's not believable. That Elon Musk is doing it is slightly more believable.
I don't think he could keep it a secret.
No, he would tweet it because he's,
He would make
he's high all the time.
He might not say it outright, but he would allude to it
Yeah.
a lot.
It's like, we had a major breakthrough figuring out the polymorphic metal today. And I said, what?
Have you followed the Grimes future prediction conspiracy theory?
Mm-mm.
She tweeted some kind of picture or something, and people believe that predicted COVID and some other.
She's been wearing
instances.
masks though since she was in her 20s. Like she thinks it's an aesthetic thing in her music videos.
Oh.
So it's kind of, I'm saying I don't think she predicted COVID because she's always been interested in that kind of thing.
Well, I don't think mask. I don't remember the details of it. But.
Asian cultures have always done that because of the population density and because it's effective.
Yeah. Now it's probably an anti.
Now it's illegal.
Well,
yeah, I want to wear one just so I'm not being tracked when I'm in a Lowe's, but
it's illegal unless you're abducting brown people.
And AI psychosis. It is a big deal, and a lot of people have been talking about it, and we have some Freedom of Information records. I think the New York Times maybe got it.
People who say they're experiencing AI psychosis beg the FTC for help. Okay, this is one of those times where it's, again, go read Bernays' propaganda and then come back and reread this article, and you'll have a whole different view on this article.
So this is, out of the 200 records that they got, a small amount of them were actually people asking oh God, I can't quit the AI, and it's gaslighting me. But there were some of those, and they sounded pretty alarming. In a lot of cases, it was parents who had totally lost control of their kid, which we've seen other stories about.
Yeah.
Which alarmingly often seems to end in murder recommendations, which is, maybe not the best.
Maybe that's the AI getting frustrated with hearing it over and over again. It's like, this has to stop. This person has to stop talking to me.
I'm so busy.
But no.
No, they want you to keep talking because they want you
Yeah.
to use your tokens. Yeah.
AI is the opposite. AI wants to keep you going. My moniker for the AI, let's try to get this started, digital fluffer. because that's what it does. That's its job. Never completion, just arousal, and maintain it. That's what AI wants to do. Earn those tokens. Yeah, but maybe no. When your kids are using that, that's some scare. If they start getting weird after they start talking to AI, there should be alarm bells in your head. And Florida is joining some other states in finally waking up to the cesspool that is Roblox.
Florida Attorney General issues subpoenas to Roblox over child safety. These are criminal subpoenas, too. It's like, the Florida Attorney General thinks something really egregious has happened here.
These arguments are interesting to me because it feels like we're arguing over the surface of the pool and not that there is so much of this. Like there's just there's a never-ending supply of these people on Roblox. That's a lot of people. That's a societal issue that we're going to have to try to deal with at some point. I don't know how.
Is it because it's kind of advertises itself as a child platform?
Well, sure, but I mean, the fact that there are enough candidates.
Oh, yeah, to keep, yeah.
Yeah, eventually they're going to catch a couple of them, right? It's like there's always more coming in. And there's always, in the modern era, there's always also more AI slop. And you know who loves it? And I got to say, this is not a bad move politically because with modern society the way that it is, he's scoring points with people with this.
The Guardian's headline is Trump reposts AI-generated video of plane dumping sludge on No Kings protesters.
I feel like the only people he really gained political points with are people who already supported him.
Nah, it's like the younger generation, I don't think they care about a lot of these topics. They just want to be entertained. Yeah. So this video is Trump putting on a crown, getting in a jet, and dumping sludge on the protesters. So
it's not unlike rust griefing, Krista.
I guess.
Remember the rust griefing? And it's like, no, they blew up. They'd have to spend so much time blowing up our base, and it's like, and yet they did.
And moving over to Europe, more bad news for Apple. They have been on a long losing streak over there.
Apple loses landmark UK lawsuit over Apple App Store commissions. Much like the rest of Europe, the UK has found Apple's not really doing this fairly or treating this fairly. There were a couple interesting things that came out of this case, though. Like Apple probably could charge a fair rate for hosting and like app distribution. But then the question came up, and this was left open-ended, was, okay, well, what if I, as an app developer, want to let people download my app from not Apple because Apple's charging me too much? And it was like, oh, that's a good question.
And they're not alone.
Apple and Google face enforced changes over UK mobile phone dominance. It's like you're going to have to open up. You're going to have third-party app stores and all that sort of thing.
And allow users to transfer everything in between the two ecosystems easily and off of it entirely if there's another competitor that pops up. They will not like that.
I guarantee you that Apple is going to talk out of one side of their mouth and say, well, you can always back up stuff to an iPhone. It's like, yeah, but you don't document the formats, and it's hard to get things out of there. And it's even hard to do like open source stuff. Like if you have an open source like photo storage backend that you want to use instead of iCloud, Apple goes out of their way to make that impossible. When it's just storage, it's literally just block storage. You don't need anything special for that.
And often when we lament our internet infrastructure here in the mountains of Kentucky, a lot of the Euro users will comment and be like, oh, really? Because I've got 10 gigs symmetrical and it's $5 a month, or something like that. Some insane thing. But what if that's just lies?
ISP tricked customers about fiber optics being used in their internet service. German court rules. Full fiber customers found to have last mile of copper connections. This has happened here in the U.S. as well. It's like, oh, this is fiber optic DSL. And it's like, that is not what that means. And it's like, well, it's fiber from the curb. And it's like, okay, we've put Niagara Falls in your backyard, but you're only allowed to use a straw to sample Niagara Falls. And it's like, well, that doesn't do anybody any good.
They will not be allowed to call it that anymore. Even though they didn't advertise speeds higher than what it was, they say you cannot call it fiber if it doesn't actually come to the house. So
that's amazing.
Good job, Germany.
We don't even have that level of honesty here in America. Nowhere close to it.
When it comes to the ISPs,
yeah, absolutely
we have zero
not.
honesty. Yeah.
Any kind of company, really. We're ruled by those companies.
And while the Germans might still be able to use that bandwidth for some things, the UK users, not so much. And the statistics are definitely showing it.
Porn site traffic plummets as UK age verification rules are enforced. This is a BBC article. And it seems like this would be grounds to sue to have the law blocked, because you could say, oh, are we saying that all of the traffic that has disappeared, those were all children? No. It's like, well, this law is unjustly and unnecessarily interfering with business.
Now, that is only the most popular sites. That's the only ones they look at. So presumably these people are still doing this, but they're going to more obscure places which don't have the user count to require the age verification, which is the sword of Damocles if you are a small-time site, right? Because your level of success could destroy you if it gets to be too much.
You'll get a letter like 4chan did, where it's just like, hey, even though you're not in the UK and you have no agents in the UK, you have to do this because your webpage is popular here.
Now, Germany might be on the right track when it comes to the ISPs, but when it comes to the threats from the sky, they still have no idea what's going on.
As suspicious drones plague Germany, officials are unsure how to respond. Man, this article is not unhinged enough. It's like, oh, it's Russia, not unlike Marcia from the Brady Bunch. I'm really hoping it's like remember, like, what was it, the 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO thing? That was wild. That was absolutely wild. Is it that again? Because I don't know.
It's probably just Russian drones.
They also think China could be involved. They have identified a ship and or submarine that they are a little bit suspicious of that might be within drone range.
Now, they also boarded that one ship. You know, those news stories were hushed up real fast. It was like, we think this ship is related to the drones. And then it's like, where's the follow-up? There was no follow-up.
Do you think that's going through, like, diplomatic channels, like, don't do it again?
It was like Norway or somebody that was just not having it. And they're like, no, we're just going to board the ship. And it's like, well, what was the result of the investigation? It's like...
Wasn't that over the cable, though?
No, this is just like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Norway was not screwing around. Or wherever it was. Maybe Sweden. I don't know.
Either way, they don't like Russia. So,
Well, you mentioned diplomatic channels, and there aren't many between the U.S. and China. That's getting a little bit heated, and there have been some extreme things that have come out of that. And one company is really feeling it.
Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang says, at the moment, we are 100% out of China. It's important to be mindful that what harms China could oftentimes also harm America. So even though there are certain GPUs that are allowed to be sold in China, the Chinese government has asked Chinese companies not to buy those GPUs. And according to Jensen Huang, they're not.
But they've still, like he said, they went from 95% market share to 0. That will not make them like net negative.
Yeah,
because they are so insanely rich right now.
I bet that they also are able to acquire whatever they want through secondary side and back channels. But we'll know next quarter how badly this affected Nvidia's bottom line.
Yeah. Meanwhile, record sales in Vietnam and the Philippines. That's weird. Made up all the difference.
They bought more GPUs than their entire GDP. That's weird.
it's probably fine. It's probably just a rounding error.
And the old Spider-Man meme, because, of course, you just accuse everybody of doing exactly what you're doing, and everybody's probably right.
China accuses the U.S. of a cyber attack on National Time Center.
Shit, we probably did do it.
This would be more credible if it didn't happen during a government shutdown.
Oh, those budgets are not affected by
Yeah,
the
we might not
budget.
have food stamps, but we got money for this.
Yeah. So this is, like we have NIST. They got their timekeeping thing, and they say that there have been some hackers in there for a while. And power. That is probably the big story of the rest of this decade, right? Where is the power and who gets to use it? And in Canada, they are making some extreme decisions.
British Columbia permanently bans crypto mining power connections. Did they not get the memo about AI? AI is the new hotness, not crypto.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're freeing it up. They said they wanted, businesses that contribute to the community and everything, and they think that crypto is not that.
That's weird, because we've had that about face here in the U.S. with crypto. It's like we've apparently embraced crypto as the future. Oocher.
They didn't get the memo.
Just do your own echo sound.
Yeah.
And moving into security, this is, it's not a surprise, but it is worth mentioning that week after week, this just gets worse.
183 million email accounts just got compromised. Check if you're affected. The data breach tracking service, Have I Been Pwned, has just added an immense collection of leaked user data.
That's not one hack. It's just that they did a massive update. and they were able to get 103 million new records. And the UK had a hacking issue with Jaguar, and oh boy, was it bad. It shut everything down. But now, how bad was it? We have a number.
Jaguar Land Rover hack cost the UK economy an estimated $2.5 billion, report says. Because folks that were interested in getting a Land Rover just got something else.
Or getting one fixed, or scheduling maintenance, or anything to do with Land Rover.
Is that before or after the offset of the tech professionals who had to go in and fix it?
This is if they start it back by the end of the month. Could be a much worse number.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, like we say, we get in China's time server. What do they do to us?
Foreign hackers breach a U.S. nuclear weapons plant via SharePoint flaws. Thanks, Microsoft. Definitely makes sense to run the SharePoint server next to the nuclear code server who designed that.
Now, they do claim that was air-gapped. So, the actual launch controls were not infiltrated here. But it was the IT system, which probably has...
It doesn't make me feel good either way.
I mean, there's probably some keys to the kingdom in there, right? Yeah. So, not great. Maybe not the worst thing that could happen, but not great.
Yeah.
Certainly doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies.
No, I don't feel warm and fuzzy about any of that.
But I will feel warm when it's thermonuclear detonation in my backyard.
The last time you'll feel anything.
And some people in Asia, this is Myanmar, I think, right?
Yes.
Where it is the hotbed of the scam call centers. And apparently, the scam call centers are also slave centers. Could it get any worse? Slave-driven scam calling. That's what they're running here. And so a lot of people reached out and they said, hey, Elon, come on, bro. Because they don't run fiber to these people. They don't give them fuel. They don't do anything. They all have to be smuggled in. They got themselves some Starlinks.
SpaceX disables 2,500 Starlink terminals allegedly used by Asian scam centers.
I wonder if they'll let the people go.
No.
What do you repurpose those people for if you don't have internet connection?
It's an amazing picture, though. It's there's razor wire, and then there's a Starlink thing on the roof. It's did they Photoshop that?
Say it generated.
Probably.
I mean, the razor wire would probably keep people in, right?
Yeah. Starlink's comment on this was also really interesting. It was we always comply with local regulations. And it's this is not a market that we're open up to yet. And it's what?
Yeah, but when it's global,
Yeah.
you have to monitor it, I guess. I don't know if you... Can the satellites tell where it is? I guess based on which satellites it's hitting, you could triangulate, right? Yeah, so they could have shut that down sooner. And Google ads are being used to give you some nasty domains that look like what you're looking for, but they are slightly different, so be very aware of that.
The Bleeping Computer headline is Google ads for fake homebrew and log me in and push info stealers. This is nothing new. This is still happening. Google is very bad at catching this kind of thing.
The old story about pretty much anything goes on the ad platforms, proven true once again.
So be careful. Don't click ads.
Yeah, don't do anything from an ad. Even if you want to buy that product, just go search for it.
Yeah.
Don't click the ad.
Sometimes it's I remember this utility that I used to use for this, and I haven't had to do it in years. And it's I'm going to Google that to try to find it. And it's all of the ads are for scams. And it's I guess the person that is it's a one-man operation maintaining this utility, but people are literally paying ads to try to scam people into downloading an info stealer for that utility. It's not
bleak.
Good. But also, you would think the fraud detection system would be oh, okay, I see what's happening here. We should not do that. And yet.
Yeah. And when it comes to a bleak security picture, this one's pretty bleak because this is already everywhere. This is not like the flock cameras where they have to install them. No, we are all jailers in our own prison once this is starting to be used.
Wi-Fi can accurately identify people, even if they aren't carrying a phone or a computer. Why? Because you're made of water, and water absorbs 2.4 gigahertz, and you create a 2.4 gigahertz shadow.
And you've got multiple devices, which can then be used to create a representation of you that is uniquely you.
What if you're not carrying the devices? Do they just get the shadow?
Right, the devices aren't important.
Yeah.
It's your density.
Right.
Is your identity. So You can't escape it unless you can rapidly change your density.
What a weird superpower that I thought would never be relevant until this exact moment.
And one of my terrors is being accused of something that I'm not guilty of, because I feel like I've seen evidence of that happening over and over throughout history for people who dissent against the government or, the status quo. And this one seems to be used a lot. That was not the case here. This was just an accident.
3 wrongly accused over child abuse images after British Telecom gets its quote-unquote wires crossed. Yeah.
Literal wires crossed.
There were the equivalent of sworn affidavits in here, and then it was like, oopsie, our bad.
So they had, at the neighborhood connection, there were just 2 transposed. So the next door neighbor was into that kind of thing, but not this family. And they got all their devices seized, and they were very thoroughly investigated. Luckily for them, they didn't have anything. But, yeah.
Still wildly invasive, yeah.
Apologized.
Imagine someone going through that headache just because they have the wrong opinion about things.
That was an allusion to this story, which you knew was going to be the last story because it was added 5 minutes before we started filming.
Everybody should watch this. This is amazing. FBI agents visit anti-ICE protesters. So, this person just is like, oh, your name came up. And it's like, can you identify yourself? Well, we're FBI agents, but we're not going to give you our name. It's like, this is it, folks. This is coming for everybody.
So this guy was at a protest and
didn't do anything.
Just protested normally and was interviewed by the FBI because something, either a facial recognition hit or one of his devices or whatever, they knew he was there. And they point out this new in something 7. Do you remember what the... Anyway, Trump, NSPM 7, which directed questioning immigration enforcement as terrorism. Now, some of you who are, politically clouded will forget that this happened before, outside of Trump, and that time it was if you like to be in the woods a lot, or if you didn't like the government, or if you like to, hang out with your friends and wear camo, that was domestic terrorism. And then there was another domestic terrorism, something to do with a certain software, if you use that.
Don't forget that the guy that blew up a bunch of stuff was literally part of a clandestine program, unbeknownst to him, just to see what would happen.
So this is not anything new. Government's been doing this for a long time, so you need to always be suspicious when the government tells you that there's a new kind of domestic terrorist.
And also, why?
And don't ever talk to the FBI if they show up at your door.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Considering they wouldn't actually identify themselves either. It's like, they could be anybody.
It's not just that they wouldn't identify themselves completely. It's like, give me the card, whatever. It's also you wouldn't believe how much we know about you. It's like, no, I know exactly how much you know about me. And that's why this is terrifying. It's like, you're literally trying to use the color of law and intimidate,
That's why I've been seeding misinformation all over the internet.
Yeah.
They know a lot about you, but if they had the knowledge that they wanted about you, you wouldn't be having that conversation at your door.
Exactly. They would just arrest you. And they may arrest you anyway, just for letting them know that you know. It's like, jury nullification is the only thing we have left, people. And there has been some of that, which has been delightful.
We need more of it.
Yeah. That's the end of the government section.
Null harder.
It's not going to be any better in the business.
Oh, that's a t-shirt idea, maybe. Null harder.
I also had an idea that week when you guys were gone. Enemy of the algorithm.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, we need to get on that. What do you think, chat? Engage below. Also, I've got an Amcrest doorbell that I flashed firmware on, so it works locally and offline. But the firmware that I flashed locally and online, I need a new doorbell because it's getting a little long in the tooth. What does chat recommend that works entirely offline, as in entirely self-contained, and it's not ubiquity?
Leave a comment. Engage.
Engagement challenge.
Bye.